listen. In a world where everybody is talking, posting, proving, announcing, and trying to show the world what they're doing, the real power moves are being made in silence. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants validation. Everybody wants people to clap for them before the work is even done. But the truth is this: the loudest people in the room are rarely the ones building something real. The people who truly change their lives, the ones who create wealth, influence, and legacy, they move differently. They stay quiet. They stay focused. And while the world is distracted, they're building themselves piece by piece. See, silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. Because when you stop explaining yourself to the world, you start investing that energy into becoming someone the world can't ignore. So today, I want to talk about 5 powerful reasons why staying silent while building yourself can completely transform your life. When you first start chasing something bigger for your life, your vision is fragile. It's not fully formed yet. It's not strong enough to stand in front of the world and defend itself. It's like planting a seed in the ground. When you plant that seed, you don't see a tree the next day. You don't see branches, fruit, or shade. All you see is dirt. But under that dirt, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming, life is starting, growth is beginning in silence. Now imagine digging that seed up every day just to prove to people it's growing. Every day you pull it out the soil, show it around, explain it, defend it, then plant it again. What happens? That seed never becomes a tree. You destroy it before it even has a chance to breathe. And that's exactly what happens when people talk too much about their vision too early. When you first see something bigger for your life, not everyone around you will understand it. That's just the reality. Some people will look at you like you're crazy. Some people will laugh. Some people will tell you to slow down, to be realistic, to stop dreaming so big. And the wild part is sometimes that doubt comes from people who care about you, family, friends, people who think they're protecting you. But what they're really doing is projecting their own fears. See, most people don't doubt you because your vision is impossible. They doubt you because they never had the courage to chase something like that themselves. When somebody sees you stepping outside the box, it challenges the limits they placed on their own life. And instead of expanding their thinking, they try to shrink yours. That's why silence becomes powerful. Silence becomes protection. When you stop announcing every step, you protect the early stages of your dream. You give it space to grow roots. You give it time to develop strength before the world starts testing it. Look at history. A lot of the biggest ideas started off looking ridiculous. People laughed at them. People rejected them. But the ones who believed in the vision stayed locked in and kept building. Take the founders of Airbnb. When they first pitched their idea, people thought it was strange. The concept was simply strangers renting out air mattresses in their apartments to travelers. Investors heard that idea and shook their heads. They couldn't see the future behind it. To them, it sounded like a temporary hustle, not a billion-dollar company. Imagine if those founders had listened to every opinion. Imagine if they went around asking everyone for validation before continuing. That idea would have died in its early stages. But they stayed focused. They protected the vision long enough to prove it worked. Today, that same company changed how people travel all around the world. That's the lesson. A vision doesn't need approval in the beginning. It needs belief. And belief grows stronger when it's protected from unnecessary noise. Because when too many voices get involved too early, they start shaping your dream into something smaller. You start adjusting your ambition just to make other people comfortable. You start doubting your instincts. And before you know it, the thing you once believed in starts losing its power. Silence keeps that from happening. Silence allows you to move with clarity. Instead of spending your energy explaining yourself, you spend that energy building something real. Every hour you would have used defending your dream, you invest into developing it. And there's something else about silence that people overlook. When you move quietly, you also avoid jealousy and distraction. Not everybody celebrating you today will still be clapping when your success starts becoming real. Some people will smile in front of you but compete behind your back. Some people will watch your progress and secretly hope you fail. But when you stay quiet, you move differently. You stay under the radar while your foundation gets stronger. You're not looking for applause. You're focused on progress. Because at the end of the day, the vision was never meant for everybody to understand in the beginning. It was given to you for a reason. You saw something other people couldn't see yet. You felt something inside that told you there was more for your life. That kind of vision is rare, and rare things require protection. So instead of announcing every move, let the work speak later. Instead of explaining your dream to people who can't see it, build it quietly until they can't ignore it. Protect your ideas the way a gardener protects a seed. Water it with discipline. Feed it with focus. Give it time to grow in silence. Because one day that small seed will turn into something powerful. And when it finally breaks through the surface, when the branches start spreading and the fruit begins to show, people will look at it and think it happened overnight. But you'll know the truth. The growth started long before anyone else could see it. Talking about goals feels good. Let's be honest about that. When you tell somebody your plans, when you post your vision online, when people respond with, "That's amazing," or "I believe in you," it feels like progress. It feels like you're moving forward, but feeling good and actually making progress are two completely different things. A lot of people confuse the two. They start talking about the dream so much that the conversation replaces the work. The vision becomes something they perform instead of something they build. And the crazy part is, The brain can't always tell the difference between talking about success and earning success. Psychologists from New York University studied this exact behavior. They found that when people publicly announce their goals, the brain sometimes gives them a premature sense of achievement. It's like your mind checks the box before the work even begins. You get that little hit of satisfaction from telling people what you're going to do, and suddenly the hunger to go out and actually do it starts fading. That's dangerous for anybody trying to build something real, because success doesn't come from the moment you declare a goal. It comes from the thousands of quiet decisions that happen after that moment. The early mornings when the alarm goes off and nobody is there to clap for you. The late nights when the world is asleep but you're still putting in work. Those are the moments that shape discipline. Real discipline isn't loud. It doesn't need an audience. It's built in silence, one decision at a time. Think about the journey of an athlete preparing for a championship. When people watch the final game, they see the highlight moments. They see the winning shot, the celebration, the cameras flashing, the crowd screaming. But what they don't see is the years behind that moment, the practices before sunrise, the drills repeated 1,000 times, the sweat, the injuries, the sacrifices, the nights when that athlete chose training over comfort, focus over distraction. Nobody applauds those moments. Nobody posts those hours on television. But that's where the champion is actually created. The same principle applies to anyone trying to change their life, whether you're building a business, mastering a skill, improving your health, or chasing a dream nobody around you understands yet. The real transformation happens in the quiet hours, and those quiet hours test you. They test your patience. They test your commitment, because when nobody is watching, when nobody is praising you, when there's no validation coming your way, the only thing pushing you forward is your own discipline. That's where character is built. When you work in silence, you remove the distraction of attention. You're not performing for people anymore. You're not chasing approval. Your focus shifts completely to growth. Every day becomes about getting a little bit better than you were yesterday. It's like stacking bricks. One brick by itself doesn't look impressive. One workout doesn't change your body. One day of studying doesn't make you an expert. One business idea doesn't make you successful. But when you stack those bricks every day, something powerful starts happening. The wall gets higher, the foundation gets stronger, and eventually the results start showing. People love to celebrate the finished building, but very few people respect the patience it took to lay every brick. That's why working in silence builds a different type of strength. It trains your mind to stay committed even when the reward is far away. It teaches you to trust the process instead of chasing quick recognition. And once you develop that kind of discipline, it becomes part of who you are. You stop needing motivation from the outside. Your habits start carrying you forward. Think about the people who eventually reach the top of their fields. Musicians, entrepreneurs, athletes, innovators. Their success often looks sudden to the outside world. One moment nobody knows them and the next moment they're everywhere. But behind that overnight success are years of silent work, years of practice when nobody believed in them. Years of building skills when nobody was paying attention. They weren't focused on the spotlight. They were focused on the craft. And that's the energy that separates people who dream from people who achieve. Dreamers talk about the destination. Builders stay locked into the journey. So if you really want to build discipline, embrace the silence. Let your mornings belong to your growth. Let your nights belong to your grind. Stop worrying about who's watching and start focusing on who you're becoming. Because the truth is, attention fades, applause fades, social media reactions fade, but the discipline you build in those quiet hours, that stays with you forever. Talking about your goals feels good. It feels like momentum. You post on social media, you tell your friends, you tell your family, and there's this instant rush. Validation hits you like a wave. People saying, "That's amazing. I believe in you. You got this." It makes you feel like you're already halfway there. But that feeling, that temporary high, it can fool you. Feeling good isn't the same as making progress. It's not the same as putting in the work that actually changes your life. You can talk yourself into thinking you're moving forward while your dreams stay in the same place, waiting for your hands to touch them. Psychologists at NYU studied this phenomenon, and what they found is important. When people announce their goals publicly, their brains sometimes reward them as if they've already achieved something. Your mind gives you that dopamine hit. Your ego feels satisfied, and suddenly the hunger to get up and do the work starts fading. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Talking about your dream can trick your brain into thinking the work is done. And that's dangerous, because nobody else is going to build your dream for you. Not your friends, not your followers, not your family. You have to build it yourself. Real discipline doesn't come from applause or from comments on your posts. Real discipline is built in silence. It's in the early mornings when nobody is awake but you, when your body is tired and your mind is still foggy, and you push anyway. It's in the late nights when the world is asleep, when no one sees the extra reps, the extra pages read, the extra practice. It's in those hours that shape you. That's when you forge habits that nobody else will ever see, but that will carry you farther than you ever imagined. Look at athletes before a championship. The crowd only sees the final performance, the highlight, the win, the applause. Nobody sees the years that led up to that moment, the countless hours spent perfecting a skill, the injuries that almost stopped them, the nights they stayed instead of going out, the mornings they woke up before sunrise to grind. That is what creates champions. The moments nobody applauds are the moments that define greatness. Every shot, Every drill, every repetition when nobody was watching, it all adds up, it all compounds. And one day when the world does see, they call it talent or luck, but it's really the quiet grind that made it inevitable. Discipline is about consistency. It's about doing the work even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like nobody is noticing, even when it would be easier to rest, to scroll your phone, to talk about your plans instead of acting on them. It's about committing to the process and trusting that if you keep stacking bricks every day, the wall will rise. Every small decision matters. Reading one more page, writing one more line, doing one more rep. Those quiet hours create a rhythm, a structure, a foundation. And once that foundation is built, it carries you even when life tries to knock you off balance. Working in silence also teaches patience. It teaches you to resist the temptation of immediate gratification. When the world is loud, it's easy to get distracted by approval, by recognition, by people's opinions. But those things fade, comments disappear, likes don't last. What lasts is the skill, the knowledge, the strength, the resilience you build when nobody is looking. And when you finally reach the point where others notice, where your work speaks for itself, you understand that it wasn't the applause that mattered, it was the preparation. The preparation was everything. There's another truth about silence and discipline. It protects your energy. When you're quiet, you're not inviting unnecessary comparisons, distractions, or negative opinions. You're not giving people the power to derail your momentum. You focus on yourself. You focus on growth. You focus on becoming the person who can handle the success you're building. Discipline isn't just about action. It's about mindset. It's about training yourself to value progress over praise, results over recognition. Success rarely comes from the spotlight. Most of the people who look like they blew up overnight spent years grinding in silence. They invested in themselves when nobody was watching. They built their skills, their knowledge, their body, their mind, their network quietly, day by day, without announcing it, without needing approval. And that's the type of discipline that lasts. That's the type that can't be taken away, that can't be faked, that carries you even when the world is quiet, even when no one notices. So if you want real results, if you want to build something that lasts, stop chasing applause, stop posting every step of your journey, stop looking for validation in all the wrong places, focus on the work that nobody sees, early mornings, late nights, the grind that feels invisible. That's where transformation happens. That's where discipline is forged. That's where success is earned. And when your time comes, the world will notice, not because you talked about it, but because your results will make the noise for you. When you move loud, you attract noise. It's inevitable. The louder you are, the more opinions come at you from every angle. People love to talk about what you're doing, and not always in ways that help you. Some of that talk comes with judgment, some comes with doubt, some comes with jealousy, and some comes with outright competition. When you broadcast your every move, you're inviting people to stake a claim on your journey. Suddenly, your energy is scattered, your focus gets hijacked, and the very thing you're trying to build starts to wobble under the weight of outside influence. When you're loud, people assume they have a right to your time, your attention, your dreams. They tell you what's possible, what's realistic, what you should or shouldn't do. Some of it comes from care, but much of it comes from fear. People fear the unknown. And when they see you stepping into it, they try to pull you back into their comfort zone. The opinions, the judgments, the advice, their distractions disguised as guidance. They chip away at your mental space slowly and quietly. And before you know it, you're not moving for yourself anymore. You're moving for everyone else's approval. But when you move quietly, when you keep your ambitions and your grind to yourself, you move differently. You move freely. You're not tripping over the weight of other people's expectations. You're not trying to justify your vision to anyone. You're not distracted by someone else's fear or skepticism. Your energy stays clean. Your mind stays sharp. You make decisions from clarity instead of chaos. You measure your progress against yourself, not against the opinions of people who aren't willing to put in the work. Some of the most successful people in history understood this instinctively. They kept a low profile. They didn't broadcast every move on social media, didn't announce every plan in meetings, didn't explain every decision to the world. They understood that not everybody needs access to their journey. Every word you speak is energy, and every time you explain yourself, you're spending power that could have been invested in the actual work. Think about it. If you tell 10 people about your plans, chances are 5 will doubt you. They'll give you the "are you sure?" or "that sounds risky" talk. 3 might secretly compete with you, whether consciously or unconsciously, seeing your dream as their threat or opportunity. And 2 might actively try to discourage you, subtly undermining your confidence with words designed to shake your belief. If you listen to all of them, you'll spend more time defending and explaining than actually moving. You'll dilute your energy across all these distractions instead of focusing on the path in front of you. Silence allows you to focus inward. It keeps your energy your own. You protect your time. Because when you're not constantly explaining yourself, you have more hours to work, more hours to create, more hours to build. You protect your mind because the noise of others' opinions doesn't cloud your thinking. You stay in your own lane, and you measure success based on results, not reactions. Peace becomes a resource when you choose silence. Success is not just about talent or skill or hard work. It's also about mental space. If your mind is constantly juggling other people's doubts and distractions, you're going to stumble even if your skill is unmatched. Silence preserves that mental space. It lets you think clearly, make smarter decisions, and move strategically. It allows you to act instead of react. And the beauty of moving quietly is that when the results start showing, people notice naturally. You don't have to convince anyone. The work itself becomes undeniable. The noise comes from your success, not from empty talk. That kind of impact is different. It's lasting, respected, and earned. Drama is a thief of time and energy. It slows you down. It clouds your vision. It makes simple decisions complicated. Silence, on the other hand, is armor. It's the way to stay focused, disciplined, and at peace while the world tries to pull you in every direction. It's how you protect what's yours long enough to turn it into something real. If you want to move freely, if you want to protect your energy, if you want to make progress without constant disruption, embrace silence. Let the noise stay in the background. Focus on your work, on your vision, and on your growth. Peace is not passive, it's strategic. Silence is not absence, it's power. And the people who understand this are the ones who reach heights others only dream about. There are two kinds of confidence in this world. One comes from talking. It's the kind that people broadcast, the kind that depends on applause, likes, compliments, and constant validation. It's loud, flashy, and at first glance, it looks impressive. But the problem with that kind of confidence is it's fragile. It bends with criticism. It wavers with doubt. It disappears when nobody is watching. It's temporary because it's not built on substance. It's built on perception. The other kind of confidence comes from doing. It comes from showing up when it's hard, from putting in the hours, from grinding when nobody's looking. It's quiet. You don't feel the need to announce it. You don't need people to witness your progress. That confidence is unbreakable because it is earned, not claimed. It comes from knowing that you've done the work, that you've pushed yourself past your limits, that you've invested in yourself more than you've invested in anyone else's opinion. When you start building yourself in silence, learning skills, reading, training, mastering your craft, you create something that can't be taken away. Every early morning you spent practicing, every late night you spent studying, every moment you chose focus over distraction, they all compound into an inner certainty. It doesn't matter who doubts you or who ignores you because your confidence no longer depends on external approval. You know the hours nobody saw. You know the sacrifices nobody applauded. You know the consistency nobody recognized. That is real power. Look at the innovators, the creators, the people who changed the game. Most of them spent years in quiet preparation before the world even knew their name. You think a musician wakes up one morning and suddenly the world is singing their song. No, they spent years writing, recording, failing, and refining their sound when nobody was watching. You think a great entrepreneur just wakes up with a billion-dollar idea that works overnight. No, they studied, experimented, failed, and built silently before anyone could see the results. Their confidence didn't come from telling people what they were going to do. It came from doing the work so consistently that they had no choice but to succeed. That kind of confidence can't be faked. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You can't manufacture with words or social media posts. It is forged through silent dedication, through doing the work that nobody else is willing to do. When you live in that discipline, you don't need to convince anyone. You don't need permission. Your presence, your skill, your results speak for themselves. That is the difference between someone who looks confident and someone who is confident. One is performance, the other is proof. And once you build that kind of confidence, nobody can take it away. It isn't affected by criticism or envy. It isn't shaken by failure or setbacks because it comes from within. You've earned it with sweat, with patience, with persistence. And the best part is it multiplies. Every time you push yourself further, every time you overcome a challenge, every time you accomplish something you once thought impossible, that confidence grows stronger. It becomes a foundation you can rely on for the rest of your life. Confidence built through action also changes the way you move in the world. You stop seeking approval. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop performing for attention. You start making decisions based on what will actually move you forward. You start respecting your own process. You start understanding that the only person you need to impress is the person you were yesterday because your growth is internal, not external. And when you operate from that place, something magnetic happens. People notice your energy, your poise, your self-respect. They sense that you are not here to compete for their validation. You are here to master your own journey. That energy draws opportunity, influence, and respect naturally without you having to chase it. Because confidence that comes from building yourself doesn't beg to be seen. It commands acknowledgement by simply existing. So when you commit to developing yourself, remember that every quiet hour you invest, every skill you sharpen, every challenge you overcome, you're building more than capability. You are building real, unshakable confidence. Confidence that doesn't depend on applause, approval, or recognition. Confidence that can't be taken from you. Confidence that becomes a shield, a foundation, a beacon for everything you aspire to achieve. And that is a power the world cannot ignore. The most powerful statement you can make in life isn't something you say. Words are easy. Anyone can talk. Anybody can promise, brag, or post about what they're going to do. But those words are fleeting. They fade with time. They can be doubted, ignored, or forgotten. What carries weight, what leaves an impression that lasts, is what you actually achieve. Results, action, tangible proof of effort and perseverance. That's the kind of voice the world listens to, the kind that doesn't need explanation, justification, or applause. When you stay silent and focus on building yourself long enough, something shifts. You start stacking bricks in the background. Every day you invest in learning and working and improving and showing up when nobody is looking, nobody's cheering, nobody's retweeting, nobody's taking note. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be, because silent work is honest work. Every hour of effort compounds, every skill learned, every barrier overcome, every failure turned into a lesson becomes a building block. And after enough time, those blocks start to show. One day people notice the change. They see it in the way you move, the way you handle challenges, the way your life operates on a different level than before. They notice because your results are no longer subtle, they're undeniable. You don't need to tell them. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to defend your path or hype your grind. Your results speak for themselves. Think about people who completely transform their lives. One year they're under the radar, they're quiet. They're putting in the work without a spotlight, without validation, without the constant feedback of social media or public approval. The next year people are wondering, what happened? Their finances have shifted, their bodies have transformed, their minds have sharpened, their influence has grown, and all it took was consistency. All it took was the decision to work in silence while the world was distracted by noise. What happened is simple, but it's profound. While others were talking, they were working. While others were seeking recognition, they were building value. While others were chasing applause, they were creating results. And when the moment came for the world to see, there was no way to ignore it. That's how legacies are built. That's how real influence is established. You can't fake it. You can't shortcut it. You can't manipulate it with clever words or flashy promises. Results are earned, results are lived, and results cannot be disputed. This is why silence is a strategy. This is why staying under the radar, focusing on growth, and prioritizing substance over showmanship is so important. You don't have to prove your worth every day to everybody. You don't have to narrate your progress. You don't have to compete for attention or validation. Let the work you put in carry your story. Let your dedication, discipline, and persistence echo louder than any claim you could ever make. Look at the way the world respects people who show results. They admire the entrepreneur whose business grows while nobody watched. They respect the artist whose craft matures quietly for years before anyone pays attention. They notice the athlete whose skills are sharpened in invisible hours long before the championship lights shine. All of it is proof that what you do in private carries a weight that talking cannot match. And the beauty of letting results make the noise is that it frees you. It removes the need for constant validation. It removes the pressure to impress others with words or appearances. It allows you to focus on what actually matters, creating, building, growing, and evolving. Your energy is invested in the work, not the audience. Your focus is on improvement, not applause. And when the results eventually surface, they don't just speak, they demand attention, they inspire respect. They build credibility that no amount of talking ever could. So remember this: every late night, every early morning, every disciplined decision, every sacrifice you make in silence is an investment in your future. Keep building, keep working, keep grinding. Let your results rise like a signal in the noise of the world. One day, people will stop asking questions. They will stop doubting. They will stop wondering. Your work will have spoken loud enough for everyone to hear. And that is the power of letting results make the noise, the undeniable, unshakable proof that you were building something real all along. So remember this: you don't need to announce every move. You don't need to prove your worth to everybody around you. The real mission is to become better every single day. Stay silent, stay disciplined, stay focused on growth, because the loudest success stories usually begin in complete silence. And if you keep building yourself when nobody is watching, one day the world won't be able to ignore what you've become.